preparing to
Oh,
live stream,
weird.
setting up your meeting for YouTube Live, done, redirecting
Woo.
YouTube, which I wouldn't do. Okay. And all right, let's do this. You're recording on your end also?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, cool.
We're good to go.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Captain's Quarters, the unofficial Star Trek rewatch podcast, where we are rewatching the entire Star Trek franchise, starting at the beginning of the official chronology. Set your phasers to fun,
Ooh.
engage with your inner nerd,
Dad joke, dad joke.
and set a course for Star Trek Discovery
Woo.
season 1, episode 14, called The War Without, The War Within. My name is How's it going, Captain?
Good. How are you, buddy? Good to see you again. It's been a
Can you hear
week.
me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh,
It's been a week. We
okay.
took shore leave off last week. And just a side note, we did not plan our wardrobe on both wearing army greenish colors this evening. We may look like a cadet review, but
Mm-hmm.
we'll get past that. We'll get past that.
When are you gonna wear your disco shirt, man?
I
Not
have
like disco like
uh,
John Travolta, like Discovery.
last
Oh, you
weekend,
have? Okay.
the last time that we did, pretty sure.
Oh, I wasn't paying attention, I guess. Okay. I believe you. Okay. Well, in this episode, Discovery is boarded by Starfleet. We are 9 months in the future. The Klingons have destroyed much of Starfleet. Uh, Philippa Georgiou, the Emperor from the Terran Empire, is on board. She's put in the brig by Saru after she makes a quip about eating Kelpian entrails.
Yep.
And
Oof.
we first like all your destroyed. Um, Klingon, Saru informed at Cornwall that it was actually Terran discovery that came to this universe when we went to theirs. Like a lot of really good dialogue between characters who have unresolved things between them. Like so Ash Tyler, who was is Voke, we don't know what's going on with him. He had some sort of procedure whereby Voke was imprinted onto Tyler or Tyler was put into Vogue. We don't really know what's going on, and neither does Starfleet. And so Saru kind of does a more informal interview with them and determines that, well, you're safe, and slaps a monitor on him and says, hey, you can walk around freely, try not to kill any more doctors while you're out there. And Burnham then has to confront him because she hasn't really talked to him since they broke up. Um, and Tyler also confronts Stamets. Stamets was the lover with the guy, the doctor
Dr.
that
Culber.
Tyler killed. Yeah, and so there's just a lot of really interesting conflicts like that, kind of intimate little dialogue scenes that are a little longer than normal, maybe. And so you know they kind of figure out where everybody's going to be. Like when they put the Emperor in, I guess they don't put her in the brig. They put her in quarters.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, they determine that they're not going to tell anybody that she's back. But then they say at the very end, they're like, hey, you know what? We're going to tell her that she was in a Klingon prison and there was this
Hmm.
top secret mission to rescue her. So it turns out she's still alive. They're going to pretend she's the human Giorgio, but
The
it's actually
non-Terran
the
one. Yeah.
Terran one.
Hmm.
Yeah. And they instill her as the captain and they hatch a plan to go to the Klingon homeworld and they're going to basically like use the spore drive to warp into the middle of the planet and they're going to like map out this cave system in the middle of the planet because no one's ever mapped it. And so now that they have this warp drive, they think they can do this stealthily, and that's going to be their way to win this Klingon war. The way they get the spores to go there, because they use them all up in the previous episodes, they do a sort of terraforming of a desolate planet where they basically quickly grow spores on this planet called Delta 2, I believe. And then they use those spores for the spore drive. And so, is this the season finale?
No, I think we have one more. I think the next one is the
Okay,
season
okay.
finale.
Because I was gonna say, I mean, we ended on we don't know what's happened, but it wasn't quite a cliffhanger. I mean, we were curious to know how the plan, plays out.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, we're kind of on a cliffhanger there. We don't know what's gonna happen. They're gonna go to the Klingon homeworld and hopefully not die.
So much so that
So,
I really wanted to just kind of get to it and go and watch the next episode preemptively, but I decided, nope, I'm not gonna
oh
do it.
wow,
Not
willpower.
gonna do it. Not gonna do it.
Hey,
Not gonna do it.
hey, in about an hour you can
Well, no,
after
I'm
we're
no,
done
no, no, no,
talking.
no. No, 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 no. Nope.
So I really enjoyed this episode. I thought it was
Yeah,
very well written. I thought the emotions that multiple characters had to kind of come to terms with the conflicts to other people on board, whether it was, Burnham and Tyler, Tyler and Stamets, Burnham and Sarek, Saru and Burnham. I mean, there are just so many of these interesting like couplings that were throughout the whole episode that I thought were just really well done. And it was like a really great episode,
it really
honestly.
was. I 100% agree. I want to ask you if you could pull back out a little bit and kind of do
Yeah,
a 35,000 foot kind of bird's eye view from this. As a fan, as as someone who's watched quite a bit of Star Trek thus
sure.
far,
Yeah.
what was you like? How did you feel about that? Like the whole episode had this. For me, I had a sense, and I don't want to like influence the way you answer the question because I'm really interested in your reaction of like, hey, they just took the Empress
Hmm.
and made her a captain, and like, what was your what was your kind of general take on that? Like, you know, yeah, I'm really interested in your reaction. From
On
a not from a higher point of a higher
yeah.
perspective, and then we can get
In
into the nitty-gritty of, oh,
Yeah. So my take on them installing the Empress as the captain is that they are in a desperate situation, which has been perfectly illustrated by the fact that we're 9 months in and
yeah,
Starfleet is basically destroyed. And then in this episode, which I didn't even talk about, part of their plan was to go to this base, and when they get there, the base is destroyed. It's Alderaan
yeah,
from episode 4,
yeah,
and like they literally come out of light speed and there's chunks of debris everywhere, and then
yeah,
there's like graffiti on the remnants of the space station, like Klingon graffiti. And so when Cornwall Admiral, is it Cornwell or Cornwall?
Cornwall,
Yeah, when Cornwall sees it, she literally just like falls back in her chair.
yeah,
And so you definitely get the impression, or not even the impression, they literally state that like, um, if we don't do this, the Klingons, it's imminent that they're going to go to Earth and basically destroy Earth.
Yeah.
And even Starfleet's like doesn't approve of their mission because of like, no, we need you to head home to defend Earth. So I think they did a great job like building up the stakes. And so I think at that point anything goes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And
yeah.
my bad. It's Cornwell.
Oh, it is
Cornwell. It
Cornwell.
is Cornwell. It is Cornwell.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So would
Katrina,
it
which we've never, I don't think we've ever heard her say her first name. Who knows?
yeah, me neither.
So,
She's another one where, because her and Lorca had a secret affair going,
yes.
and so she has to like mourn with decorum, right? When she
Yes.
learns of Lorca's death, she has to pretend that it's as a supervisor, but really it's as a lover.
Right.
And so she's grappling with that, but she doesn't have anyone to confide in. But not only is she grappling with the death of him, she's grappling with the reality that it wasn't the real Lorca, that it was a
Yes.
Terran Lorca that she was sleeping with.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So, what did you think of them bringing back Michelle Yeoh and Sister
Yeah,
Ray?
I loved it. But kind of from that 35,000 foot level, as a
Yeah.
fan, I thought they made a decision to push you, the viewer, to a brink of like, okay, how far are we gonna go? How far can we take this and yet still be, believable? It felt like that they wanted to push the characters to the breaking limits of morality and to see where it was like, okay, can we go even further? You know, it was just something that it just felt like it pushed the morality, and you touched on it, in desperate times, and how far
Hmm.
are they willing to go? And in that ultimate, like, survival desperate thing, it was amazing. It was, it's interesting to see that they are going to say yes, and they did make that decision to install Giorgio, who isn't the real Giorgio, it's the Terran Giorgio, as captain. And I'm going to be really interested in how they play that,
Hmm.
right? Because we've had the Terran Lorca, now we're going to have the Terran Giorgio. So I'm curious if it's going to remain that tension, right? Where Lorca was incredibly authoritarian, had everyone wound up and so tight, um, that I'm curious how they're going to play this, with the Terran Giorgio character. I'm going to be really interested in seeing if she can pull back a little bit, or if she's going to be the authoritarian, my word is law kind of deal. So
Yeah,
I'm
I
interested in seeing
can't
that.
I can't imagine her behaving well.
Yeah,
I can't imagine it going any other way than just basically trying to take over this universe.
yeah,
It's like what's that saying? Um I don't know. It's like you put a beaver in the middle of a target, it's going to start making a dam. Like that's all they know how to do.
right, right,
Um
sure.
they won't know, you know, I don't know. But well, so I also think she's like a marked man, like marked woman.
Yes.
In my head, she's going to die because she is going to take it too far,
Oh,
and they're gonna have to dispatch her. And
oh,
so
interesting.
so I think she'll win the skirmish with the Klingons, the battle with the Klingons, but then she'll then be just seduced by the power of being
Yeah.
the captain, and then do what beavers do, and then
Interesting.
she'll have to pull a Caesar on her, right?
Interesting. Interesting. I like that. That's not where I was gonna go, but that's really interesting. I'm gonna be really interested in seeing what they do. Yeah.
Okay. Well, what do you think they're gonna do? I want to hear your
So
opinion, man.
yeah, so I think they can soften her. I think that because Saru and Burnham had a
Hmm.
previous relationship, had a previous working relationship with the old Philippa, the Earthkin Philippa, um,
Sure.
the Prime Universe Philippa. I think that they're going to take it that way and that they can soften her a little bit. Because I don't think we knew as viewers the Lorca of who he was. And I don't think there was like immense loyalty to that Lorca. But Burnham and Saru have this special relationship, or had a special relationship with the Prime Philippa, and I think they're going to take it. And I don't know if they're going to kill her because I mean, if they're going to bring her back in the new Section 31 film, or
Hmm.
TV film or limited run series or whatever they're going to do with that character,
Yeah.
I just have this sense that I do think that we are going to have a very authoritarian Philippa. But then I think because of the relationship that Burnham and Saru have, I think they can, in your beaver analogy, kind of gnaw away at her and kind of go timber a little bit, and
Hmm. Yeah.
and and soften her a
Interesting.
little bit.
Do we know if that Section 31 is a prequel or a sequel to this
Yeah,
show?
I think it's supposed to be I think it's supposed to be a sequel to this. I think it's supposed to
Interesting.
take place, sometime after post season 1 or 2, or however long Michelle Yeoh is, plays the captain on the series.
Okay. See, and part of the reason for my answer was that I just think um out of universe, like from our perspective, uh Burnham is like going to be the captain.
Yes.
And so to me, I don't know when that's going to happen, but with there being a captain, it stands to reason that she's like someone's got to die, or unless she's going to get her own ship. But I mean, the show's called Discovery, and they're on
Right.
Discovery, so
Right.
I just can't imagine somebody stepping down. Um, so that was part of the reason for my answer was
Yeah, no, I
assuming that.
totally, yeah, no, I get that. Yeah, no, I get that. I totally, yeah.
So
Yeah, no, I totally get where you're coming from for sure. Yeah.
yeah, okay,
But it just, yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they play this out.
sure. What do you think's going on with Tyler, Ash Tyler?
So with the last episode with, Laurel performing that surgery to remove, so I think it was, that it was Vok being implanted into Tyler.
Wait, so you mean it was Tyler's body?
Yes, yes, yes. And they just made some internal Klingon changes from the dialogue in which they were talking about. The species infiltration program. I mean, it takes spying to the extreme, which I must commend you. You were right that it was a spy, that he was a Klingon spy within the Federation and Starfleet, and just, he was the the uh the prototype,
Trojan
if you
horse?
will. Yeah, the
Oh, God,
prototype,
I
if
see
you
what you're
will.
saying.
right? And Vogue
Well,
was the first participant.
I'm interested to hear. I'm interested that that's what you're saying though, because I thought Tyler was like remembering a surgery where they were like ripping him open, and then some one of the episodes they're talking about like shaving bone or making things smaller. Um, and I swear that I thought they were saying that it was the Klingon body that they made look human.
Oh, yeah, yeah, you could be right. Yeah,
Now, but then in this episode,
you're
Tyler is
right.
like Tyler, except for
Yes,
he has some Vok memories.
right.
Hence my confusion. Like, are we do we know what's happening? Or are they leaving it ambiguous?
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. No, yeah. Oh boy. I think, oh boy. Yeah, I do think like that there was enough of Vogue, you know, because they made it seem like they took Vogue's internal structure, like his rib cage and his spine and all that stuff, and to shave it down to fit the Edgar suit, basically. The
Oh,
Ash Tyler
yeah.
Edgar suit, right? And
Hmm.
then, implanted some of his DNA and his brain cells and all that kind of stuff to make Vogue, And so I think that's why I don't think we'll ever get to see the Vogue body because they've completely destroyed it, right? They've had to take out his internal organs and take out, his skeletal structure and implant it to make it fit this, you know, the Ash Tyler suit, basically.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. But it is then the original Ash Tyler
Yeah,
body.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. And that's why I think Ash Tyler is remembering both, right?
Yeah.
That he knew,
Okay.
right? Because he was Vogue, he experienced that,
Yeah.
right? And then now,
Right.
clearly.
That makes the most sense. That's how you bridge the gap there of there being two explanations because they
Yes.
both happened.
Yes, they both
Both
happened.
bodies
Yep.
were operated on.
Have
Yeah.
you ever seen the
Okay.
movie Face Off? I imagine that it would be like Face Off, I guess.
You mean the film Face
Yeah,
Off?
yeah.
Yeah.
John Travolta and Nick Cage. John Travolta
Yeah.
and Nick Cage. Was it
Yeah,
called
it
Face
is.
Off?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mean the masterpiece Face Off? Of
Yeah, yeah,
course I've seen
exactly.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. The one that we all study in film school.
Exactly. Oh boy. I remember one quote from that movie, but I can't utter it because it's dirty.
Okay. I don't remember
Um,
the entire movie, but yeah. I mean, what do you think? I mean, does that
no, that
jive
makes
with
the most
you?
sense. That
Okay.
makes the most sense. That
Because I
that
I could
bridge
be wrong.
that to me that bridges the two explanations. He has
Okay.
memories of both surgeries,
Yes.
and the depictions of both surgeries is one because it was okay.
Yeah. And then it was cool. I mean, you spoke about this like very briefly, but for me, one of the most intense and yet like beautifully acted scenes on the show was the Stamets Tyler interaction. It was short, but the intensity of it, and there were very few things
Yeah,
said, but just the intensity and the guilt of Tyler and the intense dislike, hatred, throw in any other word that you want from Paul. That was beautifully acted. I thought that was great.
sure. Yeah, Stamets says to Tyler, he says, did it gut you? Did it
Yep.
sicken you? And then Tyler says yes. And then Stamps is like, good. And then like storms off.
Yeah. because
Yeah.
like it could have like been a longer thing, right? But the
Hmm.
intensity and the shortness, like that was beautiful. That to me was beautiful.
Agreed. Um, so one thing would be, I wanted to know, like, so with Sarah in Burnham,
Yeah.
have it in Burnham something like, I got the feeling that that was final, never gonna see it. Something to that effect, transporter, and they're like in warp.
Yeah.
So is that a thing in Star Trek? You can just transport wherever you want?
No. Um,
And if so, what's the
yeah,
point of
no,
ships?
that was, yeah, I didn't understand that. Like, so I guess, so from my perspective, I thought, well, are they just giving an admiral the ability to power down Discovery shields when Cornwell wants to like just kind of beam over from a ship? Um, yeah, I didn't, that was a kind of a first thing for me. And I was like, oh, that's kind of,
But like he was gonna go to Vulcan
yeah,
to talk to Starfleet command.
yes, yeah.
But when he's talking to Tyler and he turns around and leaves, I thought he was going into a transporter. Was he transporting to a ship
I
or to Vulcan?
Yeah, I think he was transporting to a ship to take him to Vulcan.
But okay, but they were in warp.
Yes,
So
they were.
does that mean the Vulcan ship was in warp alongside them?
I don't know. They did not I don't know. I mean, I've never seen it other than when they what was it? When Enterprise, when
Yeah, they
they
talked
did
about the long
the
range.
warp bubble thing and like, they fireman pulled from one ship to this is new stuff that I was like, wow, that this isn't the what I'm kind of used to. So I don't know.
But like in the original series, for instance,
Yeah.
was there a range limit on transporting? Could you just transport to Mars from Earth or whatever? You just transport wherever you want to go?
Yeah, there was like a long range transport, but it wasn't like um but yeah, the range was limited. I don't remember what the range was. It was usually from you had to enter orbit of a planet and beam down. Like you couldn't like beam, you know, 8 star systems away. You had to be close by. Right?
Hmm.
Because the answer to that, because of the like the real like the ant like the legit like the logistical answer to that question was, you can't land the starship, and and it
They
was
need to
just a
move the plot
way.
along.
Right, they needed to move the plot along, and it was, are you gonna they didn't want to always take the shuttle, right? But yeah, usually you had the ship had to be in front of you, next to you, near you, or you had to be in orbit of a planet.
Yeah. Okay. I am going because I need a placeholder. I'm going to assume that they were close to the ship that they came on because Sarek, the Andorian, and Cornwell came on a ship on. No,
Right.
wait, no, they transported onto
They
to
transported over
Disco
from, but from a
from
ship
a
though.
ship.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm going to assume he just transported back to that ship, even if they were in warp. And I'm just going to assume they weren't that far away.
Yeah, I thought he was, and I was, oh, because I remember saying to myself, I was like, oh, that's brave to go onto a shuttle and shuttle your way back to Vulcan unless they were pretty close. Because they had just departed, they had just departed Starbase One, and Saru didn't really give any like coordinates of like set course for this. It was just take us out
Yeah. Hmm.
once they arrived back at Starbase One, and
Yeah.
yeah. And then the other thing too that kind of confused me was when that ship in that first encounter, the shields were up. I'm like, and then you see the Admiral beam over with Sarek and the Andorian and the other Starfleet security folks. I was like, did they give the Admiral permission to like override Discovery shields? That's a,
Yeah. I
I mean, that's a,
but also with that one though, like for me as a casual fan, I don't know that that stood out to me as an issue with
oh,
shields
okay,
up.
okay.
Like I feel like you being a lifelong fan, probably like
Yeah,
maybe
that
they
did.
mentioned before,
Yeah, as
like
kind of a nerdy thing, I was like, that kind of did. It's like, oh, really? You
hmm,
can't just beam through shields. Your
okay.
shields
See,
have to be down.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, your shields have to be down.
Well, hey, let's talk about Klingons.
Yes.
So so I
The
know how you like
universal
your
homogenization and assimilation is Starfleet's
yeah.
and the Federation's. Go ahead.
Wow.
Sorry.
I like
Go
that.
ahead.
Well, I don't like that. I'm just saying I like that you brought that up.
Yeah.
Um, well, I know how you like your what's the word? Your like
Kapla.
the fragments.
Yes.
Like you like how things are when things are fragmented.
Yes.
So the Klingons are like, you know, um,
There's not one house that is uniting them
there's
all.
not one
Yeah.
else. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there's like kind of like cells of Klingons or
Yes.
independent little houses.
Yes.
But I mean, they're
Yes.
still fighting a united war, but they're not coordinated.
Yes. 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 That tracks.
Um,
That tracks.
yeah. So I like that. But also, I did like, we can go back to that in a second, but I like how in this episode they say no one has been to Kronos. Is that how you pronounce it?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah, you got it.
Since Captain Jonathan Archer 100
Yes.
years ago.
Yes. Which I
So I thought,
think, so I think that was
yeah,
after Enterprise. That was after the
yeah,
show had
because
already ended.
I don't think he went to Kronos during Enterprise.
He did,
Oh, but the timing doesn't make
but the
sense, is what you're
timing
saying.
doesn't make sense, is what I'm saying.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, got it. Well, unless she was just saying like 100 years, like approximately,
Yeah,
I guess.
approximately, but yeah, I guess. But to me, and again, this is, splitting hairs here, but that to me was like post, you know, post Enterprise, somewhere in the ether between Discovery and Enterprise. And then she said
I,
NX-01, right? She said the Enterprise NX-01 and all that stuff. So yeah.
yeah. Um, so that was a nice little Easter egg. Appreciate that very much.
Yep.
And then I thought I saw something online talking about the base itself, how that was an Easter egg, but I can't remember what that was.
Oh, you mean Starbase One?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Yeah,
Or
I
maybe it explained something, some previously established lore. I just can't remember what it was. Like it's no, sorry. Before I forget though, let me the thing that explained away the thing was when Cornwell says erase all records of the Terran Empire,
yes.
that was a continuity thing. Her doing that was like when um Leia's adoptive father wipes 3PO and
Oh,
R2D2's memories because
yes.
later on, when other, whether it's Next Generation or whatever, when they encounter the Terran Empire,
Yes.
they say something to the effect of like, "There's no record of the Terran Empire in our database," And so by her wiping the memory of it, it like keeps that continuity intact.
Yes, yes, yes. Because it would have had an impact on the the Defiant.
Right. Yeah. So I thought that was smart. I appreciate that.
Okay,
So
yeah. Okay, cool. Oh, that's cool.
it's being like fragmented. Is that being how origins or team versus like factions as opposed to united
Yeah.
empire? Or they basically united under one leader.
Yes, yes. So in the
Okay.
Star Trek universe, the
So
Klingon, yeah, sorry.
I think we have a lag, buddy.
Yeah, okay, so in the future, as you will, in the chronology, the the Klingon High Council is made up of the most powerful houses,
Okay.
right? And then they elect a chancellor and elect a leader of the Klingon High Council to lead
Okay.
the most powerful houses. And when I
I
say the
see.
most powerful, it's usually the houses that have the most influence, that have the most ships, wealth, power, fleets of ships, and those are generally the most powerful houses that sit on the Klingon High Council. And so with that power vacuum, as we were talking about, it does lead and it does lead to that fragmentation of the Klingon, of the Klingon species at the moment, which is really, really interesting to see, and I'm really glad they've delved into it. And
Sure.
and again, that dialogue between Laurel and Admiral Cornwell, um, again, they did a really great job encapsulating, encapsulating the what the Klingon dias is, right? Unless you conquer us, this isn't, this is going to continue.
Okay. Got it. Okay.
But yeah, no, and then, Takuvma, I mean, he, in a way, I'm like, yeah, you called it, buddy. You know, she said Takuvma has taught us that the Federation is just universal homogenization and assimilation, which is
Hmm.
not untrue.
Interesting.
Even though, yes, I mean, because they always, spread freedom and democracy and, all that kind of stuff. Um, but
Interesting.
it's interesting to see it from the other species perspectives as we'll get along in Star Trek, where some of the other alien species are like, the Federation is just vile and insipid, um, but just
Sure.
in a different way.
Hmm. Interesting. I mean, I don't know. I mean, on in Starfleet, they all wear the same uniform, but do they
Yeah.
really affect the cultures of systems that are in
Yeah, so I mean,
the
to
Federation?
join the Federation, you do have to have, certain principles that follow Federation policy, obviously, you know.
Okay. Yeah, and
So,
the to sweeping into the ones who join.
yeah.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah. And then you have to, apply for admission into the Federation, and then there's like this review, and then because a lot of Star Trek episodes, there are a couple of Star Trek episodes that actually delve into that. And it's like, there are many planets that want to join the Federation, but there are criteria that they have to have, like the human rights and, no, very no oppression and all that kind of, you know, the paradise kind of dealio of
Sure.
elections and non-authoritarianism and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, which makes
Gotcha.
for really fun and interesting TV.
Gotcha. Well, those are all my notes on this one, man. Anything else from you?
Yeah, the other
There was a lot in this
yeah,
episode.
no, there was a there I just wanted to touch on a couple of things. When do you think they did that on purpose when Tyler sits by himself, that it kind of mirrors the first episode where Specialist or not the first episode, but first episode that Burnham is on for Discovery, and she sits alone, and no one sits by with her until Tilly comes along. Do you think they did that on purpose?
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't think of that, but now I do.
Okay,
Yeah, for sure.
okay, okay, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a
And
good one.
then yeah. And then the other one, the other one that I really and again it involves Tilly. It's incredible how Tilly is the one that changed, kind of influences Burnham to go see Tyler and have that conversation that they have at the end. And I thought this is a really I thought both characters have a lot of unpacking of their emotions to do. And I say that seriously.
Yeah, Burnham, sure. But I do feel like Tilly is aware and she's kind of the emotional center
Yeah.
of the group. Um, she's the only one maybe who's aware of the need for some of these things.
Yeah.
Because there was a moment when Burnham and Saru were talking when it was almost like Saru made a joke about himself and like Burnham just kind of like um walked right past it. Like she's so serious and wrapped up in her own thing that
Yeah.
she definitely needs someone to walk her through emotions when the time comes.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah, totally agreed. You know, essentially it was like one essentially yes, that she can't compartmentalize Voke and Tyler, right? Even though he did lie and was like, and he didn't completely wasn't completely honest with her, and that he couldn't control or needed help or whatever the case might be. Um, but yeah, it'll be really interesting to see that relationship. Um, if it can if it can delve into a friendship or whatever it is in later seasons. But seriously, I'm like, you
Absolutely.
got the two characters have a lot of emotional unpacking to do.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So,
Well, cool.
and then the last thing, the moon, that was very much a kind of like a Star Trek II Wrath of Khan Genesis project thing to kind of
Oh, okay.
take a lifeless moon and grow um spores. But other than that, that's all I had.
I was surprised that that was allowed. I would have thought there'd be a Starfleet protocol against that.
Yeah, usually there is. Yeah, usually is. Yeah, they'd have to, they'd had send the science team and do scientific rigor and say, okay, this moon is habitable. This moon can be used as a right as a spore um growing moon or whatever the case might be. But yeah, they would have to be sanctioned by Starfleet and the Federation to do so, generally.
Hmm. Okay. Well, um, anything else with this one, man?
No, that's all I had. What would you give it? What's your letter grade?
Oh yeah, man. I'm gonna give it an A, a solid A,
Yeah,
95%.
yep, nice.
How about you?
Totally. 4 pips. It's a captain's episode. This is Star Trek to its core. This is character development. This is the the exploration within ourselves. I loved it.
Awesome. Good to hear that. It's exciting when we get 4 pips from you.
Yeah. And an A. An
That doesn't
A.
happen very
An
often.
A. Come on. An
Yeah.
A.
Okay. Well, so Star Wars, the Acolyte comes out in
Star
June.
Wars,
You
The Acolyte.
excited?
Yep. I'm excited. He sent me the trailer. The trailer? Yeah, because I seen Bad
No,
Batch.
it was
The
just an announcement.
Oh, okay, because because you also sent Bad Batch, the trailer for the final season.
Yeah.
That looks exciting too.
First 3 episodes are out today.
Could you say that like potentially that Bad Batch is kind of the end of the George Lucas kind of saga era?
I mean, who knows, man? I don't
Okay.
know. Like, because I don't think he actually was directly involved with the first one, but I mean, though, as far as like it's because it's clearly an offshoot of Clone Wars,
Yes. Yes.
which was
Yes.
him overseeing. But it seems like they have the ability to cram in content. I mean,
Right.
you know, hundreds of adventures of Anakin and Obi-Wan that we
Right.
never even knew existed.
Right. Right. Right.
So,
No, yeah, exactly. So I was just thinking, I was like, oh, maybe this is kind of the last bit of the George Lucas Star Wars that I was like, oh,
yeah,
you know.
maybe
So yeah.
I could see it.
So
Sure. I know some actors get back,
yeah,
Jackson wants to come back. Hayden Christensen, I think, has said he would come back. So,
yeah,
um, but who knows?
yeah. I mean, we still have Ahsoka and maybe an Obi-Wan
Yeah, well, that'll
Kenobi.
be
Yeah,
a movie, I
yeah.
think, right?
I think so. I think so.
Oh wait,
Whatever
no.
movie it,
Oh, okay.
whatever
Yeah,
we call a movie these days, whether it's in a
right,
theater or
right.
not. But yeah.
Okay.
So,
Um, all right. Well, anything else
no, not that I can think of. I think we caught it.
that you can think of?
Yeah, no.
Cool.
Yeah,
Well, thanks for listening. We appreciate it. Yeah.
always.
Uh, Follow us on Twitter and YouTube and Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and we appreciate it. We have a Patreon too, and the link to on our
Thank you.
Twitter.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Gracias, gracias,
Um,
gracias.
yeah. So next time, live long, and prosper.
And may the force be with you always.
All right. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you. Have a good
Have
night.
a good rest of your week.
Yep, have a good rest of your week. Have a good weekend, and we will see you soon.
Heck yeah. Excited.
We'll have one more episode and then we'll see you, I think. Yes.
That's Okay, that's true. Yeah, assuming we don't cancel.
Right.
Yeah, or you don't get COVID or something.
Right, right, exactly.
All right, my man.
All right, buddy, take care.